Hammers! Ahoy, ahoy!
He is Straw.
He is Parker!
And together we are
the Battle Hammer! Dun, 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 dun.
I love it when we sync up and do the battle. The Battle Hammer's one, because we don't always manage to sync up, but when we do, it makes me feel special.
We're getting so good, we can almost finish each other's...
Women. Sorry, Jane.
Ooh. Yikes! So, what the hell's going on here, Parky? This isn't an unboxing, is it? Because I don't like unboxing.
It's not an unboxing, it's just showing you, because we've already unboxed it. So, it's just showing you what's in the box.
So it's an unbox...
No, it's showing you what is available and a product review of our first kind of look at Twisted. This game by those guys.
Demented Games.
So it's a steampunk skirmish game based, obviously it's steampunk, but there are two factions. There's the Servants of the Engine, which I'll explain to in a little while, and the Dickensians, who are...
Oh, I think you need chimney sweeped!
Yeah, think the cast of Oliver Twist with nastiness going on.
A lot of nastiness.
A lot of really nastiness.
It's fucked up, to say the least.
It's pretty mental.
So, what do we get when you get the main rule book then, Parky?
So, a really cool thing that they do, that a lot of games companies don't do, is they send you a box like this size, and just if you want to see the back of the box, there's the back of the box. And in the box you get the rule book, you get 3 main decks of cards, and you get all the tokens that you need, 2 play sheets. I like when they give you 2.
Play sheets. Oh, I love it.
Sheets and 2 sets of polyhedral dice. So GW, and I'm not trying to name names and say, oh, GW are horrible, but they sell you the book and 3 decks of cards separately, probably. But it's nice they send them in there. I think that's a really good touch.
Yeah.
Everyone likes.
I mean, no figures, but when you consider that the miniatures are so sexy.
They are really, really gorgeous. You'll see them.
You will see those in a bit. Yeah. So, the story behind Twisted.
Yes. So there's this thing called the engine. It's a arguably technological, magical,
sentient
thing that's deep within the earth, and there are nodes to it, and it does weird things to people, and that's where the steampunk weirdness element comes in. They call it alchemancy, and it's like the magic of weird, sciencey,
steampunky, techno-y thing.
Techno-organic nonsense. There are automata, kind of semi-sentient robots.
Oh, they're awesome! Gamekeeper. The Gamekeeper and the Sailor's my favourite.
Yeah.
Sailor's awesome! We'll get to those in a bit.
And in the story, the engine is kind of twisting and taking over parts of the world and kind of... But
manipulating them for its own end game.
Yeah. Manipulating is a better word rather than taking over.
Yeah, because... you know, you have the servants of the engine which are protecting it. Whether they want to protect it or not, in Lancelot's case, it's a very... There's an internal argument going on there, isn't there, with him. But the others like, no, we must protect it. That's something we don't.
And Fagin found a node to the engine. Fagin, as in, yes, Fagin from Oliver Twist, found a node to the engine, took all of his boys and a couple of other people down there.
And that went wrong, didn't it?
And then there was a big sudden thing started happening, and people have been, I mean, for want of a better word, cyborged.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't call it that, they call it being...
Twisted!
Hey!
Because Oliver has changed.
He's
gone from a little, oh, please, may I have some more?
He's a big,
monstrous
raging
Hulk bastard. Yeah. So
the Artful Dodger's got a mono wheel.
The concept behind it is awesome. It's a role-playing game waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to just run a random game with random system just to try the background out, because it is a lot of fun. So you get these 2 main factions that started. I mean, I know on Kickstarter there was a couple of other factions mentioned.
Yeah, there was the, I forget the name, but there was one that was essentially the Journey to the West kind of guys. So you had like Monkey, Pigsy,
Sandy and Tripitaka,
and a couple of other things in there.
Yeah.
And then you had the I don't know if it was the Howard Carter. Howard Carter, is that the guy I'm thinking of?
Yeah, kind
the
of.
Egyptian kind of archaeology type stuff.
Thing, yeah. That was
And I don't know if they were opened or they're just waiting for them to. They will be coming out.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that went on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Rules wise, a couple of things that kind of leap out at me. When you start a turn, I take my deck of art cards, which just have pictures of the guys on. So you've got your what we see in a lot of games now is your stat cards, where you've got stats on one side, stats on the other side. You sleeve them and you can mark off their hit points.
Love it.
Cracking. Love it, love it, love it. And then you've got all their special rules and all their stats.
All on the cards.
At the start of the turn, you take the art versions of those cards, and if you've got more players than me, you put a pass in, and if I've got more players than you, I put a pass in so that we're activating at the same time. Then I organise them in the order that I wish to activate, which I've done, and then as the turn goes on, right...
So I've had my turn, so now you have your activation.
I have my activation. I'm activating Bill Sykes, because he's the
Oh, but I didn't want you to activate him. Oh, maybe I should have thought of... Maybe you would have... Oh...
And then, of course, by the end of the turn, you know, you've used Bill Sykes, Bullseye, Sourberry and Dodger. Well, now, even though I want to use someone like a shooter or a stabber, I've got a shooter left. Or maybe I wanted to use someone else. So you're thinking about activation ahead of time.
It's a nice little idea. I haven't seen it in anything else.
No.
Well, not that we play anyway.
No.
But yeah, it's a nice... Oh, these are my ones, are they?
Yeah.
It's a nice little thing. Because everyone likes to plan.
Yeah, and it kind of... What I like about it is sometimes when you're the general or the player, you're totally in control of all your people and you know exactly what they're going to do at any given moment.
But in this...
You don't know.
You're not in control though, are you?
No, because...
There's something else in control.
You've given them a plan that you're like, aha, I think they should do this, but ultimately it's up to them.
Well, it's up to the engine.
Up to the engine. Speaking of the engine...
Speaking of...
Segway...
Or a monowheel.
A monowheel, yeah. There is a Eye of the Engine deck of cards.
It's not a great big red eye on a tower, is it? Because that's been done.
No, it's not. It's not. I think you can just do that. I'm watching you.
I am watching everything.
So at the start of the turn, you draw a card, and I can play that during the turn. And in this, this is Alchemantic Insight. I become hyper aware of some of the mysteries of the alchemancy, and the engine shows me how to call an invocation. So my alchemancy score increases by 3. Ooh. So that's really cool. So I'm more able to do magic spells. Alchemancy. And
there are bad effects as well.
And there are bad effects as well. So, so
you can draw a card that affects you badly.
I could nominate an opponent, and until the next maintenance phase, all characteristics, excluding armour, are decreased by 1. So they're pro you or negative your opponent, and it's when you're going to play it. Who are you going to play it on?
But there are some in there that force you to do things on yourself,
yeah.
Isn't there?
So there's another thing you can do at any point called Tempting Fate. So if you're Tempting Fate, shuffle the deck, and you go, right, so you're attacking me, but I'm like this guy Lancer. Yeah. He's a Lancer, right? So he's attacking one of my little dudes, and I'm like, well, he's going to kill me unless I pull something out of the bag. So I'm going to Tempt Fate. Bam! Tempt Fate, and there's a separate little bit on the bottom of the card. I immediately gain a second activation, or if in close combat, gain a second attack. If I'm the defender in the combat, I can make a single attack before your opponent does. So now, he's attacking me, I can do an attack before he gets to attack me. That's really cool, right?
It's awesome.
However, there are other ones with little red symbols in the corner. You are I am cursed. Oh no! Any maximum damage taken is considered maximum. Any damage taken is considered the maximum of any dice roll. So if he's rolling a D8, I'm automatically taking 8 damage because I've drawn that card.
Ooh, see, that's really. Ooh. So Tempting Fate's good,
but it can be bad.
Yeah.
And also, all the time, there's a token which I'll show you in a little while regarding the favour of the engine. And that goes from player to player depending on what happens throughout the game. And if you've got the favour of the engine, if you recall that I said you drew a card at the start of the turn that you get to use, if you've got the favour, you can draw 2 and pick one. Also, you can get a free reroll at any point during the turn because you've got the favour of the engine. So it's like, ooh, something the engine wants you to do this thing, whatever it is. And you automatically win ties, which is really cool.
Yes.
So the basic dice system is you roll a d20, add your stat opposed against another person. But if you're always winning ties, that's really useful. But with these tempting fake cards that we drew earlier on, if I get a red one, he gets the favour of the engine. Because the engine is looking another way, and and there are other ways to manipulate the favour of the engine.
It's a nice,
really interesting deck. Really keeps the game kind of unpredictable.
Yes.
Which I really like.
Yeah, you can have the best plan in the world, but if the engine doesn't want that plan to work, it's gonna get you.
And I kind of like that there's this capricious force in the background that's as they explain in here, although there are the servants of the engine who are the supporters and they're like, we'll defend the engine, whereas the Dickensians just want the power. Who's to say at what time the engine's going to go, well actually I want you to succeed in this thing even though you're my enemy, because I know that ultimately later on that will cause you to fail from your own hubris or whatever. Or maybe, Tesla, for example, he's a supporter of the engine and a servant of the engine, but maybe he's still got his own free will. Maybe he's trying to do something that he thinks is right, but actually isn't, because the engine is all-knowing and all-seeing. A really interesting discussion. I mean, from a narrative kind of meta point of view, it's an interesting discussion on free will versus determinism. I think we look at games and we forget that games are as valid an art as, say, film and film and fiction, where you might go, oh well, actually it's an examine of this. Well, actually this is an interesting thing.
Well, it's just storytelling with stuff on a table, isn't it?
Exactly. A couple of other things I did want to mention were, so the rulebook is lovely, the art is really nice, it's really nicely laid out, the table of contents is good, even little things like it's all very readable, the text, which is sometimes can be a bit tricky. So there's lots of variables within the game.
Yes.
So they've got Dr. Disraeli's Directory of Diverse Delights, because they love alliteration in this game.
War gear.
But you work out your army list, whatever or company selection, and then maybe you've got 3 points left over. Well, I'll go to the 3-point delights and I'll roll a d20 and that's the one I get.
Boom.
And then I can give it to someone and they can carry it, which
that.
can be pickpocketed by another character. Little things like that, really, really interesting. And then none of them are like game breaking. They're just an interesting, cool little thing to have, which you can give a character. And I kind of like that. Again, it's that kind of element of unpredictability, in that you might want your character to have this, but maybe he just wants to have the thing that he wants because he's a person in his own right. Then we've got the Madam Moon's mission matrix, which is the table of deployment areas. So it's, I think it's.
Oh, look at those!
I know, right? The buildings look amazing.
Bastards! We've got to get some of those buildings. They are beautiful.
And they're assuming a 3x3, which is I like 3x3 because a lot of tables are 4x4, but then it gives you room for your elbow and your cards and shit like that, which is always really good.
Beer.
And your beer, most importantly. So there are 10 deployment variations, which you roll 1 to 10, and then there are 10 primary mission objectives, which you roll 1 to 20. So that's 10 times 20 is 200. That's 200 variations of table setup there, without any kind of anything else. But there's also the Tower of Taxing Tasks, where you draw 2 cards, and I will have just those 2, and you will have those 2. So I've got Backstab.
What these?
If I take an opposing character out of action with a charge from the rear, giggity, I receive 2 bonus victory points.
Oh, now I've got one that says, the bigger they are.
Giggling.
If the character in your company manages to land a blow that takes an opposing character of at least 15 points more expensive out of action, then you receive 2 bonus victory points.
So they're all...
And it's called, they are the bigger they are.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Hammer time!
Hey!
That's spooky. Can't touch this. If you manage to achieve 10 or more damage in a single close combat attack, then you receive 1 victory point. If the character has the insignificant ability, then you must achieve the feat twice to gain the victory points. So no point in going after little Urkins. Bop! Ah, you're only little. Yeah.
So again, that's a nice way of mixing the game up. Of like, you know, you got your. So I mean, that's 200 setups plus the variation on the cards. There's a lot of potential variation in that each time you play it's going to be different.
Oh god, yes.
So even though you're playing with arguably only 2 factions at the moment, there's still a huge amount of variation in gameplay. I mean, that, you know, I'm really looking forward to just getting it on the table, and I love little things like this, the hidden objectives, where you don't 100% know what your opponent is trying to do.
It's not just straightforward, I'm going to kill you, game over.
Yeah. Like, you know that generally speaking you're working towards the primary objective, killing characters or trying to get the boxes, but if you can do this as well, and maybe, well, I'll leave that box and let you take that because I know that I can get this if I'm on this part of the board or whatever it is. Really, really cool. There is also a... so another thing, they've got fascinating features which are like interactive
bits
terrain pieces. Really cool, like a slime monster.
It's a really nice everything.
Oh yeah, love it. And it looks a lot more complicated than it is. The play sheets are really well written, and they've got page links to everything as well. If you want more information, I like that a lot.
Yes.
And there's a full campaign. Well, I mean,
it's
a full campaign.
Yeah.
There's 10 missions. There are sub campaigns within those missions. And you start off with like 2 dudes and 4 dudes. Like,
so it basically teaches you the rules. Teaches you the rules as you go.
Which I'm really looking forward to trying that out.
So who do you get in the first one? You get Dodger, 2 slashers, and a shooter. And I get Lancelot and the blacksmith. Ooh, Lancelot's awesome. Beautiful. So yeah,
who's Lancelot?
He's in these. Should we answer these now then, shall we?
I just want to double check and make sure. I wanted to point this out. So in the back of the book, they've got the stat cards and information, fluff and otherwise, about the characters, about the models. So yes, you've got the stat sheet, fine, some fluff, lovely, but there's a little bit like weapon features and special abilities. Just kind of gives you a little, oh, don't forget they've got this thing, that's quite useful. Oh, they can do this, and that's actually really, oh yeah, because he's unable to carry out all but the simplest task instructions. So without telling me specifically what the rule does, I've got an idea of how that model plays.
Yes.
And because a lot of times you look at a card, and unless you can see the matrix, you don't know what the card says. That doesn't make any sense, but you can read the rule and just kind of not pick it up. But this kind of having a little summary of what they can do and what they're about is really cool. Nice little thing. Special abilities in the back of the book. Lovely. And index. Who doesn't want an index? Little things make me happy, like my penis. Oh, and there's the most wondrous backers of Twisted. So it's a full list of all the people who kickstarted the game. That's nice. Oh, and there's some cunt called Darren Hay in there as well. Isn't it?
Me.
But I just think it's a really nicely put together book.
It is. Also, you know, as I said, there are counters. There are 3 sheets of counters. And I'll tell you what, they're nice really, and really pretty.
Really, I love the art style. Yeah. It's kind of art deco-y.
Could be a bit thicker. Yeah. Could be a bit thicker, but they're very pretty.
Little things I like as well. There's a so you've got a token of the favour of the engine.
I like the police carriage.
Yeah, police carriage is really nice. Swarm of rats. I think it's on. Yeah. So. Oops. So there are seeker snakes.
They're for me.
And spies. I don't know what they're for.
The snakes are for Medusa.
Ah, okay. But they give you a 30 mil token, or a 22mm token that you can put in a base if you've got a spare base, so you can use it because you know that it then, as I was saying with the harvest markers for a different game, but you know, it's easier to see them if they're a token. Just nice, it gives you the option to do that. Another little thing I did want to point out, again, production values and stuff like that. So I was looking at the book and I thought the spine was a little bit off. What I didn't realise at the time...
It's a lay flat book.
It's a lay flat book. How good is that when you're flicking through the rules?
Yes.
And you can lay it flat. I literally just realised it as we were sat here looking at it. Little things like that just make me happy.
So the first two sets, first boxes of each, we've started to assemble. I've started to throw paint at one set. Now Parker hasn't seen these two other sets, which have been wonderfully sent to us by the guys, by Pete and Seb. So thanks ever so much, guys.
Hugely appreciate it.
I mean, look, that little handwritten note as well from them. We're famous. So Parker hasn't seen these.
No. But
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him the Dickensian box to have a quick open up, and I'm going to open the Servants of the Engine box, so we can have just a quick...
We'll just show them the art.
Oh yeah, please do.
As well.
Because it is awesome.
There we go, so hopefully I won't get any glare.
Perfect.
So we've got Oliver, who's now a big, great, hulking monstrosity. These little Urkins, who are like little kids who have been...
Mutated by Nancy, aren't they?
Yeah.
She takes them down to the thing and does nastiness.
Who was really nice, but now is a bit mean and horrible. And then we've got Fagin.
Right.
Because he's Fagin, and we love Fagin, my dears. And that's the only reason I wanted to play the Dickensian, so I can do a Fagin voice, my dears.
So you zoom in, and what you get is you get your cards which you need. You get your rule cards, and you get your character cards.
Oh, Fagin. Fagin's my boy!
And you pop it open, and I mean, they're just sitting there in lovely, lovely, nice new,
tape sharp,
sexy,
makes me feel good.
Sexy metal. I'm going to have a quick little look-see, and then I'm going to go bring the camera a bit nearer for him. Oh, Lancelot, you're awesome! Where's the... Hansel and Gretel, I like that. Hansel and Gretel. She's like a scout, and there's a monkey. It's a monkey! And the school teacher. They are beautiful models.
They really are. The production on them is insane. The detail is just...
That's one I've been wanting just because I love the figure, the flower seller.
Oh, yeah, totes my loads.
Beautiful models. They really are.
A little thing as well.
What I'll do is if I remember,
so
I'll take some photos and I'll pop them up at the end of the video. That's a cracking idea, Straw. Why didn't I think of that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Idiot.
But they are really, really beautifully detailed.
Quite large, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a beast, isn't he?
Big old lad.
So in this one,
chuff me, he's huge.
In this box, this is the second box for the servants. We get Medusa, who's a bit of a weirdy. She's an alchemancer. Then there's Lancelot, who's like really, really good fighter and shooter. Hansel and Gretel, which are like your scout. All it says for the teacher is best not to get on her wrong side, and she's like a typical school mom sort of pose.
It's proper.
There's a flower seller, which looks like a typical Dickensian style flower seller giving a plant, but then you see that she's actually a robot, and she's got a clawed hand here and a clawed hand here. Gamekeeper, which I just love. Looks like he's got the reverse bent legs and everything, and the sailor is firing a cannon from his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's thrown his anchor out, so he's anchored.
Getting off. Great.
Show him the, there'll be some photos of that.
Show him that.
I love the style of art.
No, I do.
Right, we got a glare.
No, you're good.
There we go.
Gravy in the Navy. There's just me on the top there.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff.
Where was I gonna? So that's an idea of what they look like all put together. Is that okay? Sure.
Perfect.
Cool. So there's Oliver, who's now a big, heaving, hulking mutation. You got these little Urkin dudes who are like the little street kids, and you've got slashers and shooters. Slashers slash with their slashing weapons. Shooters shoot with their shooting weapons. Nancy's an alchemancer. Fagin, I love the Fagin model where he's bowing and he's got his little extra hand and he's on the little rats propelling him along.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, and looking at them, the detail.
Do you want to just show the back of that one as well?
Yeah, totes my loads.
Can you... That's up a bit? Wonderful.
There we go. So there's Lancelot, who sure really like. I love that pose on the wrist there. Really, really nice.
He's got the little contraption in his waist that ticks out the paper with the names on the people he's got to kill.
Lovely. And little details, the rifle looking like a lance with that kind of handguard. Hansel and Gretel. There's Hansel with a little monkey.
The teacher. I didn't notice, but she's got a school clock.
Oh, of course she has.
Built into the chest.
The sailor, as he was saying, with the kind of
Back
cannon.
that way a bit. That's it.
The cannon and the explosion cannon. Gamekeeper with his reverse bent legs and his kind of like little pipe and everything. Flower seller.
He's got a rabbit hanging off his backpack as well.
Oh, nice.
And then there's the flower seller.
And Medusa.
So hopefully we'll get these all put together, painted. All we're going to do is what we normally do is just basically get a quick base coat on them. I mean, you can see these ones have got base coats. She's finished. Well, as finished as I'm ever going to do. So I've got my first box set almost ready. Parker's got to start on the Dickensians. We've got so much of these to paint. But as soon as we get them together, we can get them on the table. I don't know what scenery we're going to use for this though, because they have released their own set, haven't they? They've released their own MDF.
Yeah, MDF
stuff, which is beautiful. Really
very
is.
Lots of kind of these kind of Art Deco styly, squirrely kind of stuff. I don't know how well you can see this, if it's going to zoom in or not.
Go across a bit, and then that's it.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah.
So
little Lurkin on his staff doing a kick.
Yeah. I don't know how well the detail's coming across really there, but it's really nice. The detail is just stunning. There's
not a lot of cleaning up on them.
No. It looks like they've already been cleaned. Well, at least partially already been cleaned, which is great. Fantastic.
So there you go. That's where we stand at the moment with Twisted.
Yeah.
As I said,
over the Christmas season, definitely going to be painting some things and gluing some things.
Well, as long as we can get, if we can get the base set, the base 2 factions done, then we can start with the others, and then we can start working out who we want in
the first
in
thing
our
I'll
faction.
do is I'll work out. We'll go through the campaign.
Well, obviously,
it's going to show us how to play the game. Get those ones painted up first.
Yeah. So there you go. Hope that's
a little thing before I forget. So the only kind of complicated bit of the rules is the alchemancy.
That's not that difficult, though, is it?
It's not that difficult, and they've got cards for all the spells.
Boom.
Little things. I just like little things. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to, but they did.
But you get all your fiery tokens and your elements, so you can have a stack of your bits. You go, right, have I got enough points to cast this? Well, let's have a look. Yes, I like that.
One of the things they do, I was looking at the way alchemancy works, is that you have X tokens, say 3 fire and 4 earth, or whatever you've got. So the spell to cast costs you 2 fire and 2 earth. If you fail the spell, you still have to spend half of your points that you would otherwise spend. Yes. So you're still losing magic points even if you fail.
Yes.
But you can spend a turn to recharge your action points. Which little thing just gives you thoughts during the game rather than it just being yes or no.
Yeah. So that's Twisted.
Yeah.
Production, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous stuff.
The figures are a joy to paint. They look overcrowded with detail until you start painting them, and then they are just a dream. Really are. As I said, we'll sort some scenery out, and then we'll be playing it. And we hope you will be watching.
Indeed.
So yeah, go on to, you can find them on Facebook, it's dementedgames.com, Twisted. And
they have just been, because one of the reasons that we possibly didn't necessarily mention it earlier on is that the game company is based in New Zealand, and I know that shipping was going to be an issue for people, but they've recently signed up with Wayland Games as their seller/distributor, so you should be able to get their stuff, if not now, then very soon from Wayland Games, so you won't have to worry about shipping or anything like that.
Awesome. That's it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Go and check it out. Twisted. Just like my nipples.
And remember...
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it. You want to subscribe. If you don't like it, don't want to subscribe. You don't have to like and subscribe. We would like it if you liked. And subscribe. And until next time...
Go visit Twisted.
Stay... hammered.